temple of speed in Monza to the grueling street circuit under the floodlights in Singapore, Formula SimRacing heads to Marina Bay Street Circuit, which is notorious for its medium and slow speed corners. The low average speed means the race regularly reaches its 2-hour limit, making it a test of endurance for the drivers. The Constructors' Championship is still up for grabs, with leaders Avid Chronic Racing having a great chance of securing it this race. Newly crowned champion Yerny Simoncic took pole position, increasing their chances of securing it, ahead of Peter Burlak and Sander Kallas. Martin Gosby lines up fourth ahead of Robin Panzar and Monza pole sitter Janos Brakshock. Patel lines up in seventh in the sole Jean Alesi esports car as a result of D'Alessandro's absence, ahead of Frami's reserve Jordi Zwares, who makes his WC debut with David Mocek and Jos Araneda rounding out the top 10. Lukaszek qualified in 11th, ahead of Luca Di Melio, who also makes his WC debut as reserve for Invictus. Oromir struggled as their drivers could only manage 13th and 17th, whilst Danny van der Neet starts from the pits. As we build up to lights out in Singapore, the big question is, would Avid Chronic Racing seal the double? Lights out and the leading pair got away cleanly, whilst Martin Gosby and Robin Panzar made contact at turn 1 but got away with it. Simoncic led the way from Burlak and Kallas, whilst the packed midfield is getting quite dicey. And Eric Andre tried to take advantage, but contact with Costa put him in the runoff and he had to spin around and he went to the back of the field. End of lap 1 and the order was Simoncic, Burlak, Kallas, Gosby, Panzar, Patel, Brakshock, Mocek, Zwares and Wojciech Lukaszek. Further behind, Luca Di Melio in the Salt Invictus was on an alternate strategy and had high hopes, until his WC debut was brought to a close due to a technical fault, ending his race. This track is certainly tricky to overtake, so it's unsurprising that the top 10 stayed largely static in the opening stages of the race, but that was until Robin Panzar pulled the trigger on lap 10 and pitted for the hard compound tyres. While Simoncic pitted for hards and held position, the undercut almost worked for Gosby. But Kallas was having none of it and was not willing to yield, and Panzar was getting in the mix too. With DRS for Gosby, the advantage was all his. Kallas attempted a dive, but his refusal to settle punished him with a spin and multiple positions. Peter Burlak and Mohamed Patel managed to stretch their soft stints as long as 15 laps, with Janos Brakshock pitting a lap before, which raised the question, were they doing something different to their rivals? Patel was soon under attack from Mocek, who passed him into turn 7 under the use of DRS. Further behind, Sander Kallas was struggling to make up ground after his spin. Then his engine went, and that was it. A few laps later, and Eric Andre met a similar fate. The humidity of Singapore was really taking a toll on these engines. In the meantime, Yerny Simoncic was picking his way through the drivers on an alternate strategy as he made light work of Ricardo Costa. Drivers on an alternate strategy were able to one-stop easily, so passes were crucial. Behind, two-stopping Robin Panzar decided to get his final stop out of the way early in hopes for an undercut. Peter Burlak, along with Mohamed Patel and Janos Brakshock, was rumoured to be doing a one-stop, which would put him right in contention for the win. He now made light work of Costa. Was ACR's 100% win record in 2019 about to be tested? And now his race has gone from bad to worse, with Michi Hoyer putting him in the wall. He has now lost his front wing, extending his pit stop time, making him drop behind Martin Gosby. The race has now turned on its head. In the midst of the chaos, the Oromir of Ricardo Costa has lost it. Twice. Wojciech Lukaszek now finds himself in the lead ahead of Kasdorp, Fournier, Kish and Hoyer. If Burlak and Patel aren't on a one-stop, this could put them in position for the win. Lukaszek pitted on lap 38 for mediums, 2 laps after Kasdorp. The Frami driver came close to an undercut, but the ghost speed prevailed. whilst it was game over for Jos Araneda as he crashed spectacularly at the final corner, ending his race on the spot. After the incident for Jernej Simoncic, Robin Panzer was now the lead drivers of those on the two-stop and he was on a charge. He made light work of Danny van der Neet's Netrex. He then followed up by passing Kasdorp in the same corner. Wojciech Lukaszek was his next target. He tried it into turn 7, but the Ghost Speed was having none of it. He tried a lap later. However, it almost ended in disaster. Third time lucky? This time the Ghost Speed had no answer and Panzer was through. Several laps later and Robin Panzer had Janos Brakshock to deal with, but he made easy work of him into turn 7. Further behind, the ACRs were making up positions, with 7th placed Yuri Kasdorp, who was dropping down the order, his next victim. Behind, Jernej Simoncic made light work of Fournier, who then had a swapper, and this put him under threat from Daniel Kish. Down the Espionage Bridge, and Kish had a go, but it went wrong and contact was made. Both tried to recover, but Fournier lights up the rears, and they touch again, sending Kish into the barrier, and also a DNF. The ACRs were seizing their way through the field as Martin Gosby made light work of Michi Hoyer. These points could secure them the Constructors' Championship. Simoncic had passed Kasdorp and was ready to pounce on Hoyer. Thankfully no repeat of what happened earlier, and Simoncic was up to 7th. The ACRs were now catching Ghost Speed, and perhaps in preparation the Ghost Speed decided to switch their drivers with Lukaszek now in front. Brakshock was struggling on 45 lap old tyres, and that showed as Gosby was simply able to drive around him and make the move stick. A lap later Lukaszek was now his target, but he almost loses it. Gosby was having none of it and sent it up the inside a few corners later and making it stick. The Brit was up to 4th. Onto the final lap and Simoncic tried the same thing on Brakshock. It didn't quite come off. But Brakshock had to go defensive into turn 14 and ran wide, giving Simoncic 6th. Back at the front, and Burlek had quietly made his way to the front on his one-stop strategy and crossed the line, breaking ACR's streak in 2019 to take his first win of the season and Edge's first ever win in WC. Whilst the battle for P2 wasn't done as Panzer caught up to Patel, but the Jean Alesi driver was having none of it, getting P2 and the first podium of the season. Whilst there was massive celebrations at ACR, despite only finishing 4th and 6th, they secured the Constructors' title with 3 races to spare. Lukaszek wasn't quite caught by Simoncic and managed to finish in a respectable 5th, with Janos Brakshock in 7th ahead of Michi Hoyer and Danny van der Neet, whilst Yuri Kasdorp rounds out the top 10, picking up points for the first time since China, despite his lack of pace towards the end. It was a bad day for David Mrček, whose strategy did not pay off, and neither Oromia scored points, adding insult to injury when they were both hit with penalties. In the driver's standings, Petr Burlak now moves ahead of Martin Gosby in the fight for second place, with the Edge driver now 9 points ahead. Further down, Mohammed Patel's podium position puts him back in the mix and he's up to 7th, putting the Brits in a good fight to be top 5 in the standings. ACR have now sealed the Constructors' Championship with 3 races to go, so their focus will move to their second team ACR Blue on maintaining second in the standings from Edge, while Jean Alesi have pulled away from Oromia due to Patel's podium. Thank you very much for watching this video. Highlights of the Japanese Grand Prix that took place on the 20th of October will be out soon, but a full live stream is available to watch on our channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more FSR content, and in the meantime we would like to congratulate Avid Chronic Racing for all their hard work and winning the Drivers and Constructors Championships this year in 2019. But until next time, we will see you soon. Goodbye.